Did you follow very much about Marc Fogel and his release from Russian custody?
I know basically about it, yeah, which is good. I mean, Trump met with him, and
Yeah, when
there's
Jeremy
like,
gets back, I'll play a clip of it. So this is something I used to cover a lot when I was doing more like written journalism. So Marc Fogel had been in custody. He'd been incarcerated for several years for bringing medical marijuana into Russia, which doesn't recognize marijuana. And to me, this case paralleled Brittany Griner's case, the WNBA player, so
yes, I
much. And
noticed that.
it's one of these things that I feel like it's great that he's back. You have to talk about it. So he was sentenced to, I believe, 14 years incarceration in Russia. He was detained before Brittany Griner. And then when Brittany Griner got released, the special envoy who negotiated the release mentioned the U.S. Marine who was still there, but didn't mention Marc Fogel at all. And it really seemed like he was getting kind of memory hold. He's a teacher from Pennsylvania, and he had spent 9 years teaching at this Anglo-Russian school in Moscow, I believe. And so he was arrested under Biden and then just held forever. And the Biden administration kind of never talked about him.
Yeah, when the transgender basketball player got released, it was inexplicable that U.S. Marine and somebody who was actually talented as a teacher, they weren't released. But no, we've got to get the basketball player back. It's very important for us to
We'll exchange the merchant of death. And then Biden did this whole photo op like with Brittany Griner's wife in the Oval Office. And then towards the end of his last term, it was earlier in 2024, he announced, we've got this huge hostage release. We're releasing all these people. But they tried to kind of not say who they were exchanging them for and the number of prisoners that the U.S. was exchanging. And that's when Paul Whelan, the U.S. Marine, came back. But all except for Paul Whelan, everyone released under Biden had also been detained under Biden. It meant that it was Paul Whelan was the only one from outside of Biden's administration. So Russia was detaining people knowing that Biden would come to the negotiating table and I think negotiate poorly. I don't know how much you followed that.
By the way, I wonder, I believe there was a report about a month ago that the Merchant of Death was actually back at large and doing ops in Central America, if I remember correctly.
I had read that too, but I hadn't found a way to confirm it. I'm hijacking your show, Jeremy, to talk about Marc Fogel because I think this story is just so crazy.
It is good. Good. I have to make a phone call anyway. Go ahead.
Are you just leaving? What is this? So one of the
I guess he is.
Oh, okay. Bye.
Literally.
This is from the quote from National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. Today, President Donald Trump and his special envoy, Steve Witkoff, are able to announce that Mr. Witkoff is leaving Russian airspace with Marc Fogel, an American who was detained by Russia. President Trump, Steve Witkoff, and the president's advisors negotiate an exchange that serves as a show of good faith from Russians and a sign that we are moving in the right direction to end the brutal and terrible war in Ukraine. And new reports say that Trump and Putin spoke today, and the major point of their conversation was about the Ukraine war and ways to end it.
Yeah, I know they spoke by phone the other day.
So I had seen some reporting from. Oh, here I should pull this up. So I think it's worth pointing out, Russians haven't said, but it appears that Alexander Vinnik, who was arrested in 2017 and extradited to the U.S., he operated the cryptocurrency exchange BTCE, appears to be the person who was exchanged for Fogel. And there's apparently another American that's about to be released from custody. There's a couple U.S. service members that are detained in Russia right now.
Anytime we can do a prisoner exchange, it's a good idea to me.
Right. And corporate media has said Vinnik was arrested for
Bitcoin fraud.
Money laundering. Yeah. But it's, I think you should just compare this to like the operator of a cryptocurrency exchange to, again, the merchant of death. Like, Trump is such a better negotiator.
But she plays sports. She plays the bat. She puts the ball in the hole sometimes.
Sometimes.
She's clearly worth the merchant of death.
Isn't that crazy? And I think the images are pretty striking too. Like you got this one of Trump meeting Fogel outside the White House.
Yeah, American
This
flag.
guy. Yeah.
He's like, thank God I'm back. Holy shit.
American flag should not be worn. Just saying that.
Yeah, it's not technically correct, although I am just struck by the idea that like Joe Biden again like waited for his photo op in the Oval Office. Meanwhile, you have Trump being like, I'm gonna meet him as soon as he gets here. Yeah. This is on the official POTUS account.
Can you imagine you've been in a Russian gulag for several years?
Yeah.
What's the first thing you want to do? Shit, I'm gonna get some beef stew.
McDonald's.
I'm gonna get a Big Mac.
Stuff.
And go to Titty Bar.
You got released, then you get on a plane, then you should get brought immediately to the White House. That must be kind of crazy.
You know, Trump had that plane stocked. He had, Mickey D's. He had, he had beer on there. He probably had whatever that dude wanted.
Seriously.
Well,
this is a huge W for Trump.
I think it is. Here, I'm going to
play. I want to say these people, they all play it. When we got them home.
I'm a middle-class school teacher who's now...
What's in his hand? A beer?
It
looks like a beer.
I thought it was an Olipop at first, like the probiotic sodas.
My assistant got me on those.
Really?
They taste really good.
You have to weigh in on the Olipop versus Poppy controversy.
Oh, I don't know.
Poppy vending machines.
We have to figure out exactly what he's drinking there.
That looks like Hulk Hogan's beer.
It's like the American Dad beer.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
I love our country, and I'm so happy to be back here. Hang on loose. I wish I could articulate it yet.
I just and again, to be the guy that the Biden administration just left behind.
That was so weird. His ass.
They did. It was crazy. And yet now you're just standing there with Trump. So I think it's a huge win. I think it's worth talking about. And again, this then led in, I was saying this to Styx. I don't know if you could hear us when you were making your phone call. But,
I had to change my driver for tomorrow because I realized there's a massive snowstorm passing through the Midwest.
Oh,
and it should be done by like early morning, like 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm not really worried about getting there on time, but for some reason I booked my car service for like giving me 10 minutes to get through security and board the plane. So I don't know. I'm like, yeah, you better come an hour earlier.
Well, fair enough. I think that's important as you prepare for your vacation, especially since there'll be no technical errors here. So I said this to Styx off before, but the reports that followed today were that now Trump and Putin have gotten on a phone call to start talking about how to end the Ukraine war. What do you think? He's
going to just do that in a week. I'll watch. He's just going to be like, boom, done.
And I like that this was kind of part of it. Like, this is the overtures. Like, we're going to have this prisoner exchange, and then we're going to talk about it. I think it'd be really awful if we just continue to leave the Americans behind.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of the Iranian hostages under Carter. And like literally the second that Ronald Reagan got elected, they were released.
Mm-hmm.
This diplomatically speaking, it reminds me of that, really.
Yeah, I can totally
because they know that he's actually serious. The former administration was like unserious. And it's like, well, come on, man, I'm gonna send corn pop over to your house or something like that.
Yeah.
Now they realize, oh shit, they're actually serious. They might actually press the button. We should probably negotiate something.
Right. I think Russia kind of played us under Joe Biden because they knew exactly what Biden's priorities were, which is to win woke social points. And so they were able to kind of run circles around them at the negotiating table. I think Trump and Putin have always had a more respectful relationship than Biden and Putin ever did. And I think that's ultimately for the better. Like, no one says that they have to like each other, but they have to be able to negotiate in a way that they walk away with the best outcomes for both their countries.
Yeah. Because they both have to keep up appearances as well. Like if Putin appears weak, he probably gets his throat slit. If Trump appears weak, he's incapable of negotiating at all.
Right. And I think Putin probably, I mean, I think he probably thrived under Biden because he could tell his people, look to the West, look how chaotic, look how weak Joe Biden is. And you can't really say that about Trump.
No,
so
and then the media always says, well, Trump got
right.
something down, so he's a Putin apologist. No, Putin respects him. Like, you know, it's the same thing when he did the, you know, Little Rocket Man. He's like, I have a red button too, but mine works. People called him crazy for that. But you know what? North Korea got in line real fast.
Yeah, that's true.
Which was funny as hell.
Well, but then they're like, but he's friends with dictators. He's a terrible person.
I'm good. He should be. He should be friendly with all of them. You know,
how
like,
dare he
aren't
do
you supposed
diplomacy?
to keep your enemies close or whatever? Keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. Just seemed like crazy left-wing panic. I also feel like this is something the left media isn't really talking about, this release of Fogel, because they don't want to give Trump any credit for anything, which is just like so petty.
Oh, I know. It's such a huge win for him. You know, they're just seething.